The man's story started way too good to be true. He basically scored a super cute, painfully honest girl right from the start. Then, out of nowhere, the seductive, white-haired Duchess Meluna made him a lord. As if that wasn't wild enough, the breathtaking dragon maid Lillian served him daily in a frilly uniform, wearing that classic, "I despise you yet still reward you" look. Yet the man couldn't enjoy any of it, because right after transmigrating, he won a Louis XVI-style sleep aid, aka a guillotine. Worse, before he even arrived, 99 poor souls had already died at these women's hands. Turns out his fantasy life wasn't a hero's tale, it was a full-on beggar simulator. In other stories, guys are chosen ones or system holders. At the very least, they've got some loyal Yandra maid doting on them. Him? He'd gone 3 days without food. Staying alive was already a miracle. He finally dug up a single copper coin from the gutter, only for the disaster relief porridge he bought to be ruined by a random brat. Snapping, he delivered a clean, Uchiha-style flying kick. Unfortunately, the brat's father was a monstrously corrupt official. The Inquisitor immediately sentenced Ron to death by dismemberment. He felt cold to the bone, so this other world was a scam after all. Were those promised cute fantasy girls? The only person he'd gotten to know was a gentle-looking fool in the prison cell next to him. The next morning, soldiers dragged Ron to the execution platform. Though the stains had been scrubbed away, the air still reeked of blood. Whoever slept here last hadn't been gone long. A nameless peasant like you dared to lay a hand on the young master? Save your last words. The sooner you die, the sooner you're reborn. Listening to the Inquisitor's brain-dead speech, Ron almost coughed up blood. Then suddenly, another voice echoed inside his head. Greetings. Congratulations on becoming the 100th user of this system. This system exists to train transmigrators into the strongest beings on Earth. At that exact moment, the executioner released the rope. The guillotine blade shrieked as it dropped. But then, time itself seemed to freeze. Even sound vanished from the world around him. A glowing blue screen appeared right before Ron's eyes. He glanced at the blade hanging inches above his neck and roared, "Train me my ass. Can't you see I'm about to die? Little late for a tutorial, don't you think?" The system calmly replied, "Complete activation, and you will receive one chance to cheat death." "What I need to do?" Ron blurted out. "Please say the phrase, 'I now declare myself the enemy of Vandal.'" Ron had no clue who Vandal was, but before shouting it, he cautiously asked, who the hell is Vandal?" Hearing the system explain, "He's just a monster with a hammer," Ron finally relaxed. He threw his head back and roared, "Ron declares himself the enemy of Vandal." Crack! The guillotine blade struck his neck and shattered on impact. Silence consumed the entire square. The Inquisitor pointed at him in horror. "Heretic! Madman! Kill him, or the gods will curse us all." In this world, Vandal was the supreme deity who forged the ring of truth. Yet Ron, a beggar who'd barely survived a few days on the streets, couldn't possibly have known that forbidden name. Fatal threat detected. To increase survival rate, system will temporarily take control of the host. Whoosh! Ron's body moved on its own, dodging the executioner's swing with inhuman speed. The nearest knight didn't even realize what happened before his armor caved inward under a monstrous force. Ron caught the dagger that flew from the man's hand. In the same instant, invisible sword energy erupted outward in all directions. The ground was instantly littered with shards and debris. He ripped apart the iron chains around his ankles. The soldiers rushing toward him were blown into the air by sheer force. His figure blurred across the execution yard, cutting through the chaos like a storm. One final slash tore the Inquisitor high above. Clang! The clear ring of metal on metal echoed like thunder. The strongest guardian finally appeared, roaring, "Filthy heretic! Face your death!" His massive warhammer came crashing down toward Ron. The ground fractured beneath the weight of the blow. But a heartbeat later, the guardian froze. His own hammer was being lifted. Ron smirked. "Judging heresy? How amusing. I was sentenced to death for hitting a noble's brat. Now it's my turn to judge you." With that, the war hammer exploded into countless fragments. No one could comprehend it. The prisoner who should have been executed moments ago had become something beyond human. Boom! In an instant, Ron's figure appeared above the armored guardian's head. Channeling every ounce of the system's power, he brought down a full-force punch. The execution platform erupted in a storm of dust and debris. The grinding sound of crushed metal echoed sharply through the silence. The Inquisitor cowered in the corner, trembling. No one had warned him that today's prisoner was a monster in disguise. Please, spare me. I was only following orders. I can give you anything you want," he babbled in terror. Ron had no patience for the man's pleading. One clean punch sent the corrupt judge into eternal sleep. Threats neutralized. System control disengaged. As the words faded, the blue light covering his vision slowly disappeared. "Please increase your personal strength, host. Excessive reliance on the system is not advised." Before Ron could respond, his throat tightened. A mouthful of blood splattered to the ground. The arm that shattered the armor screamed in agony, pain spreading through every nerve. "Damn it. So that's the side effect of this damned system," he growled through clenched teeth. His vision blurred to white, then black, as his body collapsed lifelessly onto the ground. Just as Ron collapsed into unconsciousness, the system blared an alert. Host status critical. Immediate cognitive recovery required. The piercing mechanical voice gradually pulled him back from the void. Transmigrator consciousness restored. All external threats neutralized. Groaning, Ron rubbed his dizzy head, recalling the dreamlike chaos he'd just endured. Suddenly, the alarm sounded again. Detected. Uncontrolled mana source nearby. Eliminate the origin immediately. Ron scanned the area, only to spot the same slime blob that had zapped him earlier. He remembered there had only been 3 people in this cell yesterday. Thanks to Big Fool Chun's explanation, he'd learned that the black sludge on the ground was actually a cursed witch. Her power had defied the world's logic, and the ring of truth punished her with this wretched form. Then the system's cold voice echoed once more. Host may extract residual mana from the origin. Doing so will also assist in system upgrades. All right, Ron muttered to the air. How exactly do I extract it? Insert any weapon directly into the origin's core, the system replied calmly. Ron fell silent, gazing down at the pitch-black slime. It had just shielded him from harm, and now he was supposed to stab it. He took a deep breath and sighed helplessly. Stepping forward, he whispered, "Next life, try not to be a witch." SHRK. Streams of visible mana surged up the blade, flooding into Ron's body like liquid fire. Meanwhile, the black sludge began to stir restlessly. In the blink of an eye, a flawless, snow-skinned girl appeared right before Ron. He froze. Big Fool Chun had been right all along. Could this really be the legendary witch? Leaning closer, Ron tried to check if she was still breathing. Then her bright, watery eyes slowly opened. A heartbeat later, they locked gazes in the most awkward position imaginable. Her warm breath brushed against his face. Ron panicked, sliding backward on instinct. Sorry, don't get the wrong idea. I wasn't trying to look." At that moment, drops of black slime slid off her body and hit the floor with wet splats. When Ron turned back, his ears instantly went red. The girl was crawling toward him, completely naked, her bashful expression dangerously alluring. Ron threw a hand over his face and shouted, "What are you doing? Don't you realize you're not wearing anything?" He frantically dug through a pile of junk, found an old cloak, and threw it over her shoulders. Looking at her dazed expression, Ron asked gently, "What's your name? Do you know where you are?" The girl remained motionless, her blank stare unsettling. Her eyes were empty, devoid of any light. Ron frowned. What the hell? A witch turning into a vegetable? That can't be right. As he hesitated, the girl suddenly clutched his sleeve, her expression trembling and pitiful. His chest tightened. Damn it, she's too damn cute. What kind of man would leave her here? Smack! He grabbed her pale hand and declared, "I've decided, Starting today, you're coming with me. We're getting the hell out of this place together." Ron escaped the prison with the little witch in tow. But soon, armored soldiers flooded the streets, sweeping the area in a massive manhunt. Hiding behind a pile of garbage, Ron exhaled. "Great. Perfect. How the hell do I play from this kind of start?" The system's monotone voice buzzed again, detected non-combat companion. Capture probability increased by 300%. Recommendation, abandon target. Ron snapped. "You shut the hell up. What kind of protagonist ditches his harem girl?" Just then, the rhythmic click-click-click of high heels echoed nearby. "You two seem to be in need of some help," a calm, mature voice said. From the shadows stepped a woman in a refined blue robe. Elegant, poised, every movement radiating nobility. The system screamed in warning. "Alert! Power level critical. Estimated death probability, 100%. Evacuate immediately." The woman didn't seem to hear the warning. Instead, she smiled faintly. "You may call me Lady Mercury, someone who can help you survive." Ron gritted his teeth. "Damn system, she's clearly overpowered, and you want me to run? You think that's even possible?" Lady Mercury's lips curved into a knowing smile, as if she'd heard him. Then, regaining her composure, she tapped gently on the wall beside her. The surface shimmered with light, revealing a door out of nowhere. "Don't worry," she said softly. "I'm not your enemy. Come in." Beyond the door lay a cozy, medieval-style chamber. Fearing the soldiers might return at any moment, Ron followed her inside without hesitation, the little witch close behind. Once inside, Lady Mercury provided fresh clothes for both Ron and the girl. Ron glanced at the elegant woman seated gracefully on the sofa. Yet despite her poise, he couldn't feel even a hint of safety. If kindness really existed in this world, he wouldn't have starved 9 meals in 3 days. Lady Mercury looked at him with a knowing smile. "Do you know why I helped you? Because your true identity is that of the hero's son." "Wait, what? That sounds important, I guess." Ron blinked, clearly skeptical. She didn't elaborate, only offering a calm, cryptic smile. "I'm afraid the details are something you'll have to uncover yourself." Ron sighed inwardly. Great. Another riddle NPC. Different world, same nonsense. As he grumbled in his head, Lady Mercury narrowed her eyes slightly. "You know," she said softly, "I can hear your thoughts to some extent." Ron nearly spat out his tea on the spot. Lady Mercury lifted her cup and took a graceful sip. "I'm telling you this so you'll seek the truth on your own. But beyond your lineage, I had other reasons to save you. The power you unleashed at the execution grounds, and the words you spoke, were enough for me to take that gamble." Ron furrowed his brow, trying to recall exactly what he'd said back there. Lady Mercury's lips curved into a faint, knowing smile. "You claim to be the enemy of Vandal. Have you already forgotten?" Ron froze. Right, he had shouted that line to activate the dam system. But honestly, he still had no idea who or what Vandal even was. Then Lady Mercury rose from her seat and approached him, her tone calm yet alluring. "Mr. Ron, would you like to make a deal with me? Consider your rescue the down payment." Lady Mercury snapped her fingers and said casually, "Listen, step through that door behind me, and you can leave this town." Through the doorway, the outskirts lay under a raging blizzard. The wind made the shutters creak and groan. Ron frowned, blunt as ever. "This doesn't exactly look like a safe place to live." Lady Mercury sighed faintly. "This used to be a prosperous territory, but one day it froze over. I want you to find whoever is responsible for freezing the village." As her words hung in the air, Maluna, who had been quietly sipping tea nearby, suddenly grabbed Lady Mercury's wrist. Lady Mercury's gaze snapped to the little witch like a blade. Maluna, however, was like a fluffed-up cat, fiercely unwilling to let any threat near her charge. Amusement flickered in Lady Mercury's eyes. "Looks like your companion's memory is beginning to return." She released the hand that had been resting on Ron's shoulder. Then she continued, "The witch has been trapped in that black sludge for so long, she can only act on instinct for now. Her consciousness is being rebuilt. Back to the point, If you go to the village and catch the culprit, that would be ideal. Even bringing back a lead will do. With that, Lady Mercury pushed the door wide open. A cutting gust of wind stung Ron's face like shards of ice. Lady Mercury clicked her fingers and said, "By the way, I should tell you, I'm a Duchess of the Norman Empire. If this goes well, I can grant you a territory and even arrange a dragon maiden you'd be foolish to refuse." After she revealed her rank, Ron stared at her, voice steady. "You really mean to give me a fief?" In the biting wind, Lady Mercury only grew more inscrutable. "As a Duchess of the Norman Empire, I can use my noble authority to enfeff you, grant you legitimate land within the empire." At that moment, the system screen flared with notifications. Mission identified. This lordship has been locked to you. As the future's strongest on the surface, how can you be without lands? Seize Lady Mercury's opportunity. Objective: identify the culprit who froze the village. Reward: system assigned signature weapon. After a brief consideration, Ron realized that, given his current state, finding the culprit would net him both land and a weapon. This was a one-shot chance to turn his fortunes around. While he was still thinking, Lady Mercury asked softly, "Mr. Ron, have you decided? Is that not tempting enough?" Ron didn't hesitate. He accepted on the spot. Lady Mercury offered a faint, relieved smile and extended her hand. The moment their hands touched, a contract confirmation tone sounded in his head. Notice, missions cannot be canceled once started. As a future supreme, you must not give up halfway. If the host displays dereliction, the system will impose severe penalties, including, but not limited to, desire removal, forced compliance, or inflicted pain. Ron, who'd been daydreaming about a bright future, went cold instantly. He thought furiously, "Hell, why wasn't this rule told earlier? I'm starting to think you, too, set me up." Pulling himself together, Ron stepped through the door with Maluna at his side. Through the window, Lady Mercury murmured, "I sincerely hope you grow stronger, transmigrator." Ron gave nothing away, but Lady Mercury's eyes suggested she already knew more than he'd told her. "You're not the first transmigrator, and you likely won't be the last. After tonight, Ron might end up like the previous 99 transmigrators, buried forever within the dual-colored realm." The system, Ron learned, wasn't conjured from nowhere. It was the pinnacle work of the dual world's 10 sages, designed to train transmigrators and root out the parasitic scourge plaguing the realm. Just then, a liquid-form drake slipped out of a teacup and slithered into the air. Someone nearby muttered, "Lady Mercury, aren't you being a little hasty? Even for a transmigrator, is it wise to send him into danger so quickly?" Lady Mercury flicked her fingers toward the silver drake. Anyone unconnected to the dual world could never touch those entities. That alone makes him special. He's the 100th transmigrator. This time, he must grow quickly. The drake clutched its head, groaning. You didn't even explain this world's basics to him. He's going to be dead in a few days. Pale blue scales shimmered faintly across Lady Mercury's cheek as she replied coolly, "Relax. I've already sent someone reliable to assist Mr. Ron." The tiny silver dragon froze mid-air, eyes widening. "Don't tell me. It's Lillian, isn't it? That girl's mentality is barely past her teens. And if I recall correctly, she hates humans." Meanwhile, Ron trudged through the howling snow, nearly questioning his life choices. "Are you sure anyone's even alive out here? We've walked half a day and haven't seen a single village." Suddenly, Maluna's eyes locked onto something ahead. She tugged lightly at Ron's sleeve. Following her gaze, Ron spotted a lone figure standing in the storm. When he got a clearer look, he froze in place. It was a girl, a maid, dressed absurdly lightly for such freezing weather. Her silvery white hair fluttered in the wind, and her sapphire eyes glowed with icy resolve. Ron exhaled a puff of steam. "Yeah, no, she doesn't look normal at all." Without another glance, he took Maluna's hand and started around her. The maid blinked, her face twisting in indignant disbelief. "Unbelievable. Did that human just ignore me?" Her expression cooled. With a few quick steps, she closed the distance. Ron stopped and frowned. "Miss, who are you, and why are you following us?" The white-haired maid lifted her skirt in a polite curtsy. "A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Ron. My name is Lillian, Lady Mercury's maid. I've been assigned to provide whatever assistance you require." Ron finally let out a breath of relief. "So, you're from Lady Mercury? Great. You could have said that earlier. I thought you were some creepy stalker." The maid raised her chin, her expression pure arrogance. To willingly speak to a filthy, wicked, ugly human? The very thought makes my stomach turn. "You're unclean. Please forgive me if I don't wish to get too close. Even under Lady Mercury's orders, your current level of filth is simply unbearable." Ron glanced at the 50-meter gap she kept between them. "You sure that's supposed to sound like an apology?" Though visibly disgusted, Lillian, the proud white dragon, straightened her posture, forcing a polite smile. Elegance forbids rudeness, even to lesser creatures. Suddenly, she froze. A chilling gaze was fixed on her. Maluna's dim eyes were now faintly glowing. No words, no emotion, just silent, simmering fury. Lillian instantly bowed low. "Lady Maluna the Witch." Ron caught every detail and couldn't help thinking, wow, total attitude shift. Then the system blared in his mind. Alert. The entity ahead possesses extreme power. Probability of draconic species, 98%. Post-combat capability, insufficient. Avoid confrontation. Ron's body trembled with excitement. A dragon maid? Jackpot. Lillian noticed his stupid grin and quietly took a cautious step back. "Hey," Ron asked, "what's with you?" The dragon maid turned away, flustered. "Please keep your filthy thoughts to yourself. You were definitely imagining something indecent just now, and it's disgusting." Regaining her composure, Lillian moved ahead to lead the way as Lady Mercury's appointed observer. She would offer no combat support. "Lady Mercury's orders are clear," she said coolly. "Should you abuse the sage system for selfish ends, I am authorized to execute you on sight." Her gaze flicked toward Maluna, who remained close to Ron. "You two, how did you even meet? You seem unusually close." Ron gently patted Maluna's head with a smile. "We were cellmates before all this." She just turned back from her sludge form. "It'll take time for her to recover." Lillian arched a brow. "So, it was you who pulled the witch out of that state?" "Yeah," Ron replied, curious. "But you seem to know a lot about this stuff." "From what I've heard, most witches who become sludge never regain their minds. The fact that she can think again, it's basically a miracle." Lillian's tone was polite, but unmistakably condescending. "Naturally, I know far more than a human like you. Witches are seen as symbols of evil. The magic and prayers humans use come from different divine symbols. But a witch's power doesn't come from any of them. It comes from something humans can't comprehend. And what humans can't understand, they label as evil. Worse still, a witch's magic often spirals out of control, leading to mana rampage. They lose themselves and dissolve into black sludge. And so the myth of the evil, which becomes self-fulfilling." Anger flickered in Lillian's eyes. "Pathetic. Truly pathetic. Witchcraft is the root of the dual world's power, yet humans believe the lies of the corruption that infects it." She shot Ron a sideways glance. "You may be unkempt, filthy, and generally unpleasant, but I suppose saving a witch deserves some level of acknowledgement." Ron grinned from ear to ear. "So that's your way of saying thank you, huh?" Lillian turned away, cheeks faintly red. "And no, it's not." After a while, she stopped walking. "There," she said quietly, pointing ahead. "That's our destination. The frozen town, Winterhold." As they approached the gate, Ron's breath caught. The entire settlement lay beneath a shell of solid ice. Irony at its finest, he muttered. A place called Winterless Town, buried in eternal frost. "If you already knew the culprit was here," he asked, "why hasn't anyone gone in before?" Lillian exhaled softly, her voice even colder than the air. "We only know something resides here. We don't know what it looks like, or if it's even human." Her slender fingers pressed against the icy gate. She leaned forward slightly. With a deep, echoing rumble, the massive doors began to open. A wave of freezing air burst out, cutting through the silence. Dressed lightly, Lillian didn't so much as flinch. Ron and Maluna, on the other hand, were instantly trembling. Within seconds, Ron could feel the chill biting into his bones. Lillian turned around, her tone suddenly serious. Everyone we've ever sent to hunt the culprit never came back. Let's hope you'll be the first who does. Ron's face twisted. Great, he thought. A suicide mission. His gaze drifted to the faint, glowing runes swirling in the wind, remnants of a divine barrier. Lillian followed his eyes. Her cheeks flushed instantly, color rushing up to her ears. Aron, are you staring at my underwear? She snapped, voice sharp as a whip. Retract that disgusting look this instant. Ron scratched the back of his head awkwardly. Anyway, Miss Lillian, you're coming with me, right? The dragon maid turned away, flustered. I'm just a delicate woman. You'll have to handle this part on your own. Delicate? Ron barked. You literally shoved open a steel gate weighing several tons. That's your idea of delicate? Clearing her throat, Lillian straightened, composure snapping back into place. Back to the matter at hand. My duty is to observe, not interfere. Lady Mercury's orders were explicit. I will not assist you. Ron groaned. You've got to be kidding me. You want me dead in there, don't you? It's freezing. What kind of monster could even live in that? Lillian's gemstone eyes glimmered faintly. This is the contract you signed with Lady Mercury. I'm merely the supervisor. Rules are absolute. Don't worry, she added. The witch and I will set up camp here. I'll make sure she's safe while you're gone. Ron exhaled slowly, resigning himself to his fate. Figures. No point arguing with a dragon. He crouched down beside Maluna, gently patting her head. Stay here, okay? I'll be back before you know it. With that, he turned and stepped through the icy gates of Winterhold. Lillian's earlier words echoed in his mind. Be the first to return. He gave a bitter laugh. Yeah, that's not ominous at all. As his eyes adjusted, the town's frozen horror unfolded before him. Streets lined with statues of people mid-scream, their terror preserved forever in crystal ice. Apart from the wind, there was nothing, only a dead, hollow silence. Ron muttered, Is there really a culprit here? Then came a faint rustling above, scraping softly against the roof. He looked up and locked eyes with something staring back. Is that a squirrel? But something felt off, deeply off. Before he could think further, the creature darted away in a blur. Instinct told Ron this was no ordinary animal. The clue had to be connected to it. He chased it all the way to the town square, but the little thing had vanished. Just then, the familiar chime of the system echoed in his ears. System notice. You're standing at the edge of a temporal distortion. Past projections may appear. Remain calm. The air shimmered, and translucent figures began to flicker. A straw-hatted elder spoke to another man. Freeze this land. The evil god must never leave this place. The younger man looked displeased, but the image soon began to fade. Ron exhaled, steam clouding in front of his face. So that old man, the one who froze this land, is the culprit. Unfortunately, the image was too blurred to make out his features. At that very moment, a figure hid in the shadows, silently watching Ron. The missing squirrel leapt onto his shoulder, then whispered something faintly into the mysterious man's ear. The old man sighed. Another fool seeking the truth, huh? When the afterimage vanished, all traces of the illusion disappeared as well. Ron turned toward the gate. The cold was biting. Linger much longer, and he'd end up as another frozen statue. But the moment he stepped outside, a wooden cabin now stood where there had been nothing. Ron blinked. Have I gone frost mad? When did that thing show up? This was Forrest just a minute ago. The cabin door creaked open. You're not hallucinating, Mr. Ron, came a crisp, familiar voice. Lillian stood there, petite frame, effortlessly holding a bundle of thick logs. This will be our temporary camp, she said with a calm smile. Kitchen, bath, and bedroom. Everything's ready for you. Ron eyed the cabin suspiciously. Did she have one of those shrink and expand house models? He finally asked, Did you even build this? Lillian dropped the heavy bundle with a casual thud. Naturally, I built it piece by piece from the wood around here. And the outer layer that blocks all the cold? That's dragon breath. Ron blinked. Wait, dragon breath? I thought that was just, big fiery explosions in movies. Lillian shot him a look. Please don't define me with your shallow off-world knowledge. Tell me, she continued, aren't you afraid of dragons? Ron paused, then shrugged. As long as you don't eat me, I'm fine. She actually chuckled. I thought all humans feared the unknown. You're a strange one, Ron. As soon as he opened the cabin door, Maluna threw herself into his arms. The little witch waved her hands frantically, trying to express something. Ron tilted his head. Oh, what's she doing? She wants you to drink something warm, Lillian said gently. How'd you know that? Ron asked. White dragons can read thoughts. To a degree, she replied, turning her head away. I couldn't before, but now I can feel her thoughts. It means she's regaining her mind. Ron smiled and patted the little witch's head, nearly melting from her adorable expression. Soon after, Lillian emerged from the kitchen carrying a steaming plate of grilled meat. The aroma alone made Ron's stomach growl. After a day in the frozen wild, he devoured it eagerly. This meat's incredible. What is it? Lillian gave a polite smile. It's from my tail, Mr. Ron. Oh, that explains why it's so weight. His face froze mid-chew. Hold on your tail. Lillian replied calmly. Relax. For a dragon, that much flesh is like losing a bit of skin. Nothing serious. Look, even Miss Maluna's enjoying it. I'd already healed most of it while cooking. Before long, the dragon maid asked about the day's progress. Ron sighed, found a weird squirrel, but got away. Then saw a ghost image of the culprit, too blurry to recognize. Lillian smiled knowingly. Just as I thought. Lady Mercury's assignments are a bit too advanced for someone like you. If you really can't handle it, I'll make a report. Ron shot to his feet. Who says I can't? I'm going back out tomorrow. Oh my, Lillian said sweetly, eyes glinting. That's so wonderful. I'll be here, eagerly awaiting your success. Then, the familiar metallic tone echoed in Ron's head. System alert. As the future strongest being on Earth, how can you tolerate being looked down upon by a maid? You must deliver justice with your iron fist. You want me to what? Fight the dragon maid? Ron groaned. Great. My tragic life just got worse. She's not some fragile college girl. If anything, I'm the fragile one. And stop threatening me with that damn core thing. Fine, take it if you want. He clenched his fists. For the sake of my own dignity, screw it. With a sharp smack, he yelled, Hey, stupid dragon. Want to fight? The boar dragon maid perked up instantly, an amused grin curling her lips. The result was obvious. She crushed him with a single finger. Ron didn't even last 2 seconds standing. Damn it. At this rate, my core's done for. System said, I just have to win, right? Then here goes nothing. In one reckless leap, Ron threw himself at her, arms wrapping around her soft, warm thigh. He rubbed his face against her leg, whining, Miss Lillian, please. Just lose once for me, okay? Just once. Lillian's cheeks flared scarlet. And Mr. Ron, what are you doing? She stumbled back, flustered. I could do the chores, the errands, anything. It's my duty as a maid. Now let go of me. She tried shaking him off like an annoying bug. With a soft boom, she finally pushed him aside and straightened her dress. Don't be ridiculous, Mr. Ron. I have work to do. But Ron clung to her like glue. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't shake him off. Lillian wasn't stupid. She quickly realized his antics probably had something to do with that damn system again. For the sake of my core, Ron thought grimly, I'll walk through fire if I have to. And honestly, she's pretty comfy to hold. Seeing his hopeless determination, the dragon maid sighed in exhaustion. Fine then, arm wrestling. If you win, you'll stop pestering me. Deal. I'm not some masochist, bring it on. Ron said, cracking his knuckles. Lillian gave him a pitying smirk and crouched down. Very well, I'll graciously let you in once. Ron grinned wide, feeling his core morale bar fully restored. But before he even braced himself, an overwhelming force surged through his arm. He was tossed into the air like a rag doll. Ack, damn it. My arm's broken for sure. Pay up, you monster. Where's justice? He roared, pointing accusingly. You did that on purpose. Even the chair's in splinters. I'm delicate, okay. Lillian looked at him with mock innocence. Mr. Ron, you've already beaten a fragile maid. Must you be so aggressive? Fragile? You call that fragile? He shouted back. Before he could continue, the system's cold voice cut in. Mission complete. Though you used disgraceful means to claim victory, the system encourages a more honorable approach next time. It's getting late, Lillian said, brushing off her dress. You should rest. Ron frowned. What the hell kind of reward is that? And what's this dream trait supposed to mean? Darkness swallowed him before he could think further. Then, massive gears began turning all around him. A robed figure materialized ahead, standing amidst the mechanical haze. Welcome to the dual realm, 100th traveler, Ron. I am the creator of the system, the 10 sages. So, you the one who dragged me into this world? Ron growled. Indeed, the figure said evenly. But do not interrupt. I'm called 10 sages because there are 10 minds within this body. Ron narrowed his eyes. Then what about the ones before me? The earlier travelers? All dead. Ron froze, his stomach twisting. The 10 sages' voice echoed through the void. They died before becoming the strongest. Failures, every one of them. Ron's face darkened, fury rising like a storm. You drag us here without consent. And when we die, you call us failures? You treat us like test subjects. The 10 sages showed no emotion. His gaze was steady, voice cold. Your anger is irrelevant to me. I appear only to give you a hint. The system's method for making you stronger is parallel possibility. How powerful you become depends on how many of those infinite possibilities you can claim. Imagine a simple stone, he continued. In one possible world, it becomes a diamond. The system exists to simulate those infinite paths, guiding you toward the one where you are the diamond. From here on, everything else is up to the system. With that, his form dissolved into light and vanished completely. Hey, get back here. I'm not done talking, Ron shouted, but the void ignored him. His vision spun violently, hurling him into another chaotic realm. System notice, welcome, traveler, to the dream training field. Time here flows independently. All training will occur within your dreams. No harm will affect reality. Due to your physical stats being far below the dual realm average, please survive the incoming dragon assault within the time limit. A dragon? Are you serious? Ron yelled. This damn system's out of its mind. No one can survive that. Then came the thunderous boom of footsteps behind him. He slowly turned around. Towering above him, a dragon, 10 stories tall, glared down with molten eyes. The beast lunged forward, the shockwave tearing through the ground. Oh hell no. Just say you want me dead already. Ron screamed, sprinting for his life. A wave of searing fire erupted from the dragon's jaws, engulfing the dream world in blazing light. Then came the system's true killing blow. This is not a dream. Any injury taken here will affect your real body. If you fail to value your life, you will truly die. Also note, resurrection functions are not supported. Please exercise caution. The moment it finished speaking, the dragon's massive head appeared right in front of Ron. A crushing force yanked his body downward like a rag doll. Its jaws clamped shut. His arm was gone, blood bursting like a fountain. His brain couldn't even process it before the pain detonated through his nerves, and he screamed in pure agony. The next instant, he shot upright in bed, gasping, grabbing at his left hand. The lingering ache in his mind told him it really happened. Yet, his golden left arm was still there. Maluna, startled awake beside him, blinked in confusion as Ron exhaled a shaky breath of relief. System notice. Non-fatal damage repaired automatically. Trial complete. Physical capabilities significantly increased. Keep up the good work. Ron frowned. Stronger? Why do I not feel a damn thing? A soft knock echoed from the door. The tall, elegant figure of Lillian entered. Good morning, Mr. Ron. Miss Maluna. Breakfast is prepared. Please freshen up before eating. Seeing a full table of hot food in this frozen wasteland, Ron couldn't help but admire the all-purpose dragon maid. But just as he was enjoying the meal, Lillian leaned closer, eyes narrowing with disgust. You didn't do anything weird last night, did you? Ron stiffened, turning his head away. Crap. Was she hearing me yell for help in my sleep? The dragon maid frowned thoughtfully. I could have sworn I heard strange noises through the door all night. Her sapphire blue eyes turned icy. You didn't do anything inappropriate to Miss Maluna, did you? Ron let out a dry laugh. Come on. Do I not look like a gentleman to you? She shot back without mercy. Please. You're a trashy, pervy little demon, always staring with that creepy look. I already gave you a well-deserved beating. Ron bristled. I'm a man of principle. I do have boundaries. The maid's playful air vanished. Her expression hardened. Lady Mercury's mission has no official time limit, she said, but you should finish it quickly. No one can guarantee the culprit will stay in that town. Soon after, Ron stepped once more into the frozen town. As expected, the white squirrel appeared again. Seeing it relax after falling into his trap, Ron yanked the line. The net hidden beneath the snow snapped tight, wrapping the squirrel securely. Got you at last, little oddball, Ron muttered. You ran fast yesterday. Now talk. Are you tied to the anomalies here? The squirrel didn't play fair. It clamped its big front teeth right into Ron's hand. Pain shot through him, and he dropped onto the snow. An aged voice sounded behind him. Could you let the little one go? Without it, I've got no one to keep me company. Ron's pupils tightened. This was the same man from the vision. The squirrel used his moment of distraction to dart away. The old man regarded them calmly. Don't be alarmed. I'm a mayor of this town. Welcome to Winterless. The words put him instantly on guard. None of the intel had ever mentioned a mayor here. The old man seemed to read Ron's thoughts at a glance. I know you have many questions, just like the others who came here seeking the truth. Come with me. I'll tell you what happened. With that, he walked toward the depths of the town. The snowfall suddenly grew heavier. Ron looked up and muttered, They call it Winterless, but the snow never stops. The old man lifted his head like a mummy, speaking in a tired, elderly cadence. This used to be a town of eternal spring, thriving with life. It was small, but people were happy, until the evil god arrived. Ron asked, What is that? As a traveler who knew nothing about the twin rings, he could only tell it wasn't anything good. The old man replied calmly, The evil god is a being that grants wishes and bestows power. To seize that power, fanatics implant the evil god into their own bodies. But along with that power and flame, they gradually lose their sanity. In the end, more and more people were infected, turning into monsters that attack indiscriminately. To stop it, I sought help from the Mage Tower. They gave me a scroll. At the town center, I cast the spell and froze everyone tainted by the evil god. If we hadn't stopped them, not just this town, the entire domain would have been affected. Only then did Ron understand. The old man before him was the culprit. Before the elder could continue, Ron snapped a shackle around his hands. He said coldly, Lady Mercury sent me to find the culprit. Since you've admitted it, you're coming with me. Dragged behind him, the old man still spoke calmly. I never hid the truth, only that no one can leave this place. Ron assumed the old man was just rambling nonsense. After all, he had only left this place yesterday. Thinking about how he'd soon complete the mission, be granted a lordship, and reach the peak of his life, he couldn't help but hum a little tune. Suddenly, the stone statue at the center of the town appeared right before him. Ron froze. He clearly remembered walking in the opposite direction. There was no way he should have ended up back here. Feeling uneasy, he turned his head and asked, Mayor, did you do something? The old man spoke slowly. Because of the magic that lingers here, time itself has become distorted. I was cursed by that same magic, and with time frozen, I became something that cannot die. Everyone who knows the truth is trapped within these bounds. I've been here for hundreds of years. Ron stared at the old man's sorrowful eyes, unable to move or speak.
Guys, that's the end of the video. If you like this video, please leave a comment in the comment section. Also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Like the video and share it too. Thank you for watching and see you next time again.